All right, that's fine. Go ahead.
We are live. Hello, everybody.
Hey there.
Hello.
I hope everybody's having a lovely Friday. Let's wait till we actually have a viewer. That might be a positive thing. I don't think they see us on the screen, Colin. Oh, there we go. Jordan Sheridan with
Jen Dice. Hello, everyone. I hope everyone has their Fauci ouchie. Just kidding. I do hope you have your vax, but if I hear anyone call it a Fauci ouchie, I may lose my mind. Just saying.
What's a Fauci ouchie?
That's what all the Hillary people are calling it. The Fauci ouchie. I got my Fauci ouchie. Hashtag Fauci ouchie. Just saying. It makes me go insane.
Interesting. And I actually didn't think about this, but this headline might bring us some MAGA people. This headline might bring us some right wingers today. So, oh well. What are you gonna do?
Thank you, Matrix Housewife. That's so sweet of you.
I think we're seeing the back end, Colin.
Yeah, Colin said, hold on, we got a little video show. That's okay, because we're just getting warmed up. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, Angie. Hey, Indie Left News. Yeah. Oh yeah, Blue Wrench. I'll wrench you.
Blue Wrench, LOL. We're gonna talk Fauci. We're gonna talk we're getting the typical neoliberal economic framing that the economy is roaring back. Is that true? If we have time, we'll also get into the California, all blue. Blue. Oh, now we're black. The California, we'll be back on screen in a minute, folks. For now, you can listen to my voice. California, complete Democratic control of that state, is now pushing a bill that literally would make me, if I was there covering a protest or something like that, ask a commanding police officer for permission to cover it, under the guise of having to ask a commanding police officer for permission to cover an area that's been blocked off. Does that sound positive, that we want to be asking police for permission as journalists to cover protests? So we're going to get into that. Smash the like button. We're not sending out a text at this point, right?
Well, yeah, we're sending out a text. What Jordan's referring to in questioning if we're going to send out a text is our short code is gone. So you guys, I shall. So you guys know that we often say text, so don't do this, but we often say text COUP to 370-370 to get notified, right? Well, don't do that because it's gone. Our short code is gone due to telecommunications companies being greedy bastards. Don't do that, because now in order to have a short code, we have to pay oodles and oodles and oodles of money every single month, and we simply can't afford it. So we've lost our short code apparently as of June 1st, and our text messaging company did not notify us. I thought it was later in June. Apparently it was June 1st. So if you've tried to join our text messaging list up to this point in June, it didn't work. So we still have your phone number if you have already joined it. So I will be sending a text. I'm doing that right now, but we're going to have to figure something out for future text list joiners.
But one thing they haven't screwed us in yet is our email list. So statuscoup.com/pub. Statuscoup.com/pub.
No.
That's why you can't rely on me for housekeeping.
Fake news. Statuscoup.pub/email.
Oh, isn't that interesting? Statuscoup.pub/email. Because we're probably going to have to start sending out more emails to tell you when we're live. We won't bury you, with 25 emails a week. But we certainly can't expect, unfortunately, can't expect you to get a notification, unfortunately, from YouTube. So there's the link right there in the YouTube chat. And yeah, join our email list on top of other things. So, Jen, we're slightly late to this, but we were covering other things. Those of you might not have seen it. I was live from the Staten Island Amazon warehouse the other day. Spoke with workers already on our Substack, brand new Substack we just launched. Posted an article yesterday showing the insane anti-union messages they're putting up in the Amazon warehouse. So definitely go to our Substack, statuscoup.substack.com, to read that article. That one's for free. Literally, it's almost like Amazon is borrowing from like Fox News's like immigration fear mongering. They're like, the organizers might come to your home, which is like what they say to, the immigrants might come to your house. So definitely check that out on our Substack. I also posted another Substack piece. We posted a Substack piece right before this, just for the paid subscribers. So you can become a Substack subscriber for, what is it, $5 a month?
Yeah, and there are other options as well. And it's actually, I'm pretty excited about it. It's different offerings than what we offer for our regular, membership. And it'll be, some people love video, some people love reading, articles and things like that. Some people love both. So this is a different offering, and we have really, really great plans for our Substack. So you can go to statuscoup.substack.com and grab the articles there. Some are free. We just posted a paid one, and it's going to be fantastic. You know that Substack is the new thing, but I would like to make sure that everybody knows that we were signed up for Substack before it became the cool kid thing to do. We signed up for it in 2019.
Right.
Just don't pay any attention to the fact that we didn't actually get it going until now. Not the important part. But yeah, go ahead and sign up there. Jordan's written 3 fantastic articles for it in the last 3 days. That's really incredible. So check it out.
Thank you. And we'll have other people writing, Jen, and other guest submissions too. So we're going to get into a lot of things. Smash that like button. We got 150 people watching, 74 likes. We need every single person to like. Please, if you're feeling frisky, super chat. I don't know why I said that, but definitely leave a super chat.
That's what Anand always says in the chat.
Yeah. So definitely leave a super chat. Support us. So Anthony Fauci's emails came out. Obviously, Anthony Fauci has been elevated as Jesus of Nazareth. By the resistance, during the pandemic, it definitely seemed like he had the right motivations, was actually trying to get to the bottom of this and trying to, protect people. But his emails, boy, do they tell quite the different story. And aside from a few outlets, I'm seeing the media basically give him a pass. The first thing I want to draw to attention, if you could bring up the BuzzFeed story, Colin, this part here. The emails show Fauci received a flurry of correspondence about the theory that coronavirus leaked from a lab in Wuhan. One such email sent to Fauci on April 16th, 2020 by Francis Collins, the director of the National Institute of Health, under the subject line, "Conspiracy Gains Momentum," contained a link to a news story highlighting a Fox News report that said the allegation had merit. Fauci's response to Collins is entirely blacked out. So we don't know what his response was, but if his entire response is blacked out, common sense would indicate there's something in there they don't want you to see. Now, to me, of course, it's important to find out how this pandemic started. Almost 600,000 Americans have died. People with long haul COVID, like Jen. So it's very important to know how it started so we could prevent it from ever happening again. Also, accountability. Somebody should be held accountable, whether it's the country or, whomever. But you can't actually, and we've experienced this, Jen, with our Flint reporting. You can't actually say you're providing information through freedom of information requests, and then for the critical question of what was Fauci saying about the lab leak theory early on in the pandemic, they're hiding what he was saying. So publicly, he was on that line that it's a conspiracy theory, and he was saying this probably came from an animal like a bat, but it's redacted what he said behind the scenes. So what do you make of that?
So my sense of this is that it is the same as yours. We need to know where this came from. It's incredibly important that we know where this came from. I've never, and I said this a couple of weeks ago when it was first announced that Fauci said, oh yeah, we can kind of start to look into this. This was before the email drop, before the FOIA, before BuzzFeed, and I believe it's Washington Post and BuzzFeed came out with this drop. And before Fauci said this a couple of weeks ago, it was foreboding to even mention the lab leak theory. And that's crazy to me, because we have Wuhan, where they actively investigate and test, and this isn't the right scientific terminology, but for all intents and purposes, build upon viruses to test them. And it's a good effort in my view, because they're testing these viruses and building upon different viruses in order to prevent pandemics, so that they can know how to treat them. But common sense says that it's possible for a leak to occur. I mean, there are movies made about this. Obviously that's fiction, it's not real, but there are always the potential for accidents to occur. So why wouldn't we investigate that? If there's no there, then okay. But it should be okay to talk about it. It should be okay to investigate that. Why wasn't it okay to even mention it? Well, I think I know part of why it wasn't okay, and that's because the Trump camp brought it up. We know Trump is an insane conspiracy theorist in the worst possible way, but just because Trump is off the rails and those in his camp are off the rails doesn't mean we lose all common sense and poo-poo everything that he mentions, especially if the entire world's health is at risk. It doesn't mean we shove everything under a barrel and don't talk about it and hide it for well over a year. That's not what we do. It doesn't mean that people simply talking about it mean their channels are banned and this and that happens. And that is what I said when I believe Tina was on with me in that show that we first spoke about this. I said specifically on that show, if I had titled our video, our live stream that day, the same title, if I'd spoken about this topic 2 weeks before, our channel would have been banned, as has happened to other folks. So I think it's crazy the way that this has been approached. And now that we know about these emails, now that we have these emails, now that we know that this has been so thoroughly redacted, I have a hell of a lot of questions. And if part of this that we can talk about a little bit more is the fact that it's so-called racist to suspect a lab leak. No, it's not racist. How is it even any more racist than saying, oh, these wet markets, there's a bat, the Chinese are eating bats and that's where it came from, and this sparked this worldwide pandemic. How is a lab leak any more racist of a theory than that? It's not. It's simply not. Something happened and we need to know.
Right. And I also want to make the point of the selective coverage. I mean, I think Jimmy did a video. A couple independent outlets have pointed out that there's several lies from Fauci that we now know are lies. But you have outlets like BuzzFeed and other outlets were demanding transparency from the Mueller investigation, for example. They wanted documents from the Mueller investigation, because that they could possibly find smoke on Trump that William Barr wasn't releasing. So BuzzFeed, a couple other outlets, was sending freedom of information requests and a whole lot of other stuff to try and get not just stuff that was not released by the Mueller report. Okay, but in this case, the critical question of what he was saying and thinking and what did he know about possibly it coming from the lab, which, by the way, I don't know if it came from the lab. As journalists and as scientists, if you don't know, you should just say, we don't know. There's not enough information. We don't know yet. But suddenly, those same people that were demanding transparency and unredacted information from the Mueller report, they're not saying anything about the fact that the critical question, and keep those super chats coming. We'll try to read them as we go. I don't know, Jen, if you could keep track of them or how we should do that.
Streamlabs keeps track of them now, so it's so great.
Okay, good. So the critical question, redacted means hidden. I could tell you, we've covered the Flint water crisis and cover up for years. Governor Snyder, the former governor of Michigan, who presided over the poisoning of Flint's residents, he released emails. An overwhelming amount of them were redacted. So how do you know what he knew? Who knew what when if the emails are redacted? So I don't know what's in that email. But I think Jen's point is important. Trump, who I'm not a fan of. He's already stirring this cockamamie. Oh, there might be a coup in August, or I might be reinstated in August, which is absurd and dangerous. But he said it might have come from the lab. So to me, that's why it's redacted. They don't want anything from Fauci. What if he said in that email, the truth is, we don't know. We don't know where it came from. So to me, that is extremely troubling. But to me, the biggest thing here that actually is part of why we had so many people dying early on. I want to show this part of it, Colin, from this article, and then we'll play the clip. Hold on. I got to pull it back up. Masks, he writes in an email, February 5th, 2020. Okay. So at this point, everybody's wearing a mask in China. Okay. And at this point, it's not national news in America, but it is spreading in China. And people have blown the whistle to the Trump administration from the CDC and elsewhere in January. So it's fully known that this was dangerous and it was coming here. And by the way, Trump's own advisor, who was it? Peter Navarro, sounded the alarm. He's normally an idiot, but he sounded the alarm in January. So Fauci said in this email, he was asked by Sylvia Burwell, the former Health and Human Services Secretary, who emailed Fauci and asked him if he should take the mask to the airport. Quote, masks are really for infected people to prevent them from spreading infection to people who are not infected, rather than protecting uninfected people from acquiring infection. What? Masks are really for infected people to prevent them from spreading infection to people who are not from acquiring infection. Well, Jen, doesn't that contradict itself? Where masks are only for people, or masks are best for people to stop them from spreading the infection. Well, who would they be spreading the infection to? People that don't currently have it. But then he's saying, rather than protecting uninfected people from acquiring infection, I don't know if I'm misreading that, but it doesn't make sense. He's basically saying, only people should wear masks are sick. But if you're not sick, you don't have to wear it. But the people who are sick should wear it to protect the people that you're telling not to wear the mask. The typical mask you buy in the drugstore is not really effective in keeping out virus, which is small enough to pass through the material. It might, however, provide some slight benefit in keeping out gross droplets if someone coughs or sneezes on you. I do not recommend that you wear a mask, particularly since you are going to a very low risk location. So, Colin, let's play the clip. Him with MSNBC's Mehdi Hassan. I believe this was a few weeks ago. But now with this email in hand, we will find out that he was lying.
Let me ask you this one other question about the past, because you said we need to move forward. I agree with you. And one of the problems we have now is we have a lot of people, bad faith people, saying we don't trust Anthony Fauci, we don't trust Joe Biden, we don't trust the scientists. But there are others who, in good faith, just genuinely over the last year, and I think you've recognized this in the past about the mixed messaging and some of the different advice they've gotten on this very thorny disease. I want to play a clip of you speaking to 60 Minutes just over a year ago. Have a listen.
Now, when you see people and look at the films in China and South Korea, whatever, everybody's wearing a mask. Right now in the United States, people should not be walking around with masks. Right now, people should not be walking. There's no reason to be walking around with a mask.
Given you acknowledged in that clip in March 2020 that Asian countries were masking up at the time, saying we shouldn't mask up as well was a mistake, wasn't it? A huge mistake at the time, not just in hindsight.
No, I keep seeing that clip getting played over and over again. So if you could give me 15 seconds, I'll go right back at you with this. Okay, at the time, three things were going on. We were told very clearly at the coronavirus task force, including by the Surgeon General, who's a good person all the way, that there was a clear shortage of masks. And if we went around recommending masks, the healthcare providers who were putting themselves in harm's way every single day would not have enough. Point number one. Point number two, there was no evidence at the time that masks outside of the setting of the hospital worked. There were no data to show that. Number three, we did not know that at least 50% of the infections were being spread asymptomatically, namely by people that had no symptoms. That's the reason why, at that time, I and others made that statement. Fast forward a month or two after, it became clear there was no shortage of masks. In fact, cloth masks works. B, we started to see rather substantial data that masks outside of the setting of the hospital work to prevent infection and to prevent you from infecting somebody else. And three, we found out to our horror that 50% or more of the infections were transmitted by people who did not know they were infected. That's the reason why I changed. So, wait, let me just finish, because you showed the clip. First of all, if something is static and you change your mind about it, you're flip-flopping. If something changes, the data change, and you change with the data and rely on the data, you're not flip-flopping, okay? We found out to our horror that 50% more of the infections were transmitted by people who did not know they were infected.
He's literally saying, So Jen, he's literally saying that they didn't advocate for masks because there was a shortage. Meanwhile, privately in emails, he's telling people that they're not as effective, and this kind of contradictory statement that masks are really for infected people to prevent them from spreading infection to people who are not infected, rather than protecting uninfected people from acquiring infection. Again, that's a contradiction. Like, why would the people who are sick have to wear masks if to protect the people that aren't sick yet, if you're then telling the people that aren't sick, oh no, it doesn't protect you. It really doesn't protect you. But obviously there was a national shortage, partly because this doesn't get covered enough, that trade deals like NAFTA and other things cut off U.S. manufacturing completely and sold our jobs to China and other countries so that they could make the masks and they could make the ventilators. But literally, he withheld that we don't know. The truth was, what they should have said is, we don't have enough masks to go around. First priority is our nurses, our doctors, our medical professionals. It's certain types of masks are the most effective, but we can't tell you not to wear a mask. We can't say it won't help, and give people the choice. Give people the choice whether they're going to stay home, keep their kids home, make their own masks. He lied. I mean, that's as simple as it is. He lied. I get some people might say, well, Jordan, what did you want? There was a mass shortage, so you don't want to create a panic. But when it's life or death, you should create a panic. When it's life or death and it's rampaging through China, you should tell people the truth. The truth being, we don't have enough masks. We can't tell you definitively that it wouldn't protect you. Certain masks provide the most protection. So if you make your own, it won't provide optimal protection, but it's better than nothing. He could have easily said that, but he didn't. And to me, I mean, how many people died because in the beginning they weren't wearing masks and they were going about life normally.
Okay, so what I'm going to say is going to be controversial in certain circles.
And by the way, hit that like button. We got 350 people watching, but only 200 likes.
I love when I'm in the middle of a thought.
And
you do this because I like lose my train of thought. It's great. It's wonderful. I'm just kidding. No, but so this is going to be controversial because I hope people truly listen to what I'm saying. So I'm going to preface this by saying that I am fully vaccinated. And I'm so angry that I walk into places around where I live and people are not wearing masks. It drives me insane, even though whatever. I still wear my mask, even if no one is. I wear my mask. It makes me happy that in DC, everyone's still wearing their mask, even outside. So you got that. Everybody has that. People don't run out and say, Jen's a mask denier. Jen's not wearing her mask. Whatever. No. I'm wearing my mask. I love masks. Yay, masks. But the initial science, the initial peer-reviewed studies on masks, the CDC page initially said that the CDC page has changed over time. Fauci's recommendations have changed over time. Not everybody's, I'm being general here, opinions, the expert opinions have changed over time. Yes, so the cited, everyone says follow science, listen to science, let's be on team science. So the science, the peer-reviewed science was indeed masks aren't effective. They aren't against this. That is what the science said. So people did a quick I want to say turnaround. This doesn't mean I'm denying masks still. Everybody get it right. Everybody did a quick turnaround. And as you can do with science, chose different studies and did different studies. And then the science became, yes, masks work. Let's all wear masks. Masks are great. Masks are wonderful. Yes, Fauci, everyone wear masks. That is part of this. That is why Fauci, and like CNN, everybody it was initially, we don't have to wear masks. There was a change, and everybody has to remember what it was like. It was initially very confusing. It's like everybody had their brains taken out. It was very confusing at first. Nobody knew if we had to wear masks. I remember I was flying somewhere on a reporting trip and I felt stupid. I bought a mask in the airport and I felt stupid. I was like, I bought it and then I hid it in my bag because I felt dumb and crazy for buying it. And because the advice at that time was, we don't need them. There were plenty of studies saying we don't need them. But that's okay because we can consult different science and better science. But you have to understand that part of the problem with the mask deniers and the so-called science deniers or whatever, the insane Trump people, the people who won't wear masks, this was part of the problem, is because the CDC did change their page. You can go on the Wayback Machine and look at that. They 100% did change their page. There's an NYU professor who got tons. He's a propaganda professor, and he simply reported this to his class or taught this to his class and said, hey, go look at all this, go look at these studies that they were initially citing, look at these studies they're citing now, look at the CDC's page before, look at it now. And all of his co-professors cited or like signed this petition against him to try to get him fired. But that's simply the truth. It's the truth. It did change, but that's okay. We can look at better science. We can change our minds over time based on better evidence, based on what works. We can also use common sense. Also, they've only now started to listen to what scientists, good scientists, have been screaming this whole time. COVID is airborne. They've been screaming that, and they wouldn't listen. And so common sense tells us if something is airborne and you put a mask in front of it, that's going to be better than not, right? Yes, of course it is. So we can use common sense. We can think about the droplets. If something is there, stopping it, that's going to be better than not there. Yeah, so the homemade like cotton mask or whatever, that's not going to be as good as the N95 mask. That's common sense as well. So we can think about this. We can be smart about this while also acknowledging that Fauci changed his tone. Like he flip-flopped on things. These emails show that. The CDC changed its page. Experts changed their tone and then made it seem like you were crazy if you mentioned that. So I want to state again, I am 100% pro-mask. I believe the good, right science shows that. I believe common sense shows that. As someone who got COVID and suffers today, I'm much better than I was. Absolutely much better. And I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful to be under the care of Johns Hopkins in Baltimore. It ruined my life. I thought I would never report again. And it angers me that Fauci did this. It angers me that there was so much flip-flopping. It also angers me that people can't just admit, hey, we are now looking at different studies. We're now looking at different science. And this is what we know now. Like, don't pretend you didn't say something different earlier and act like we're crazy because we remember that you said something different earlier.
See, I kind of disagree with you for two reasons. Yes, science by nature, they look at data, right? But a few things. Number one, I do think the CDC, Fauci, and others felt and knew masks were protective because they are. Because why would he be sending emails privately telling people, no, I don't think you need to bring it for the flight, this, that, and the other thing, but then be going out and telling 60 Minutes and others, well, we needed to get them for the doctors and the nurses and all this. Well, if the doctors and the nurses needed it, obviously it's protective, right? Yes, N95, the most protective, but the actual mask is protective. So this idea that, well, the science didn't completely support it then and there wasn't enough data. Well, they had enough to want to get as many doctors and nurses equipped with enough masks. So
I think we're talking about two different aspects, to be clear.
Well, there's
mask wearing.
But there's another aspect that I think is important. And this doesn't really go so much to whether he lied or not, but it goes to the problems with science and the scientific community. Like when you have a novel virus, right, that we haven't seen before, like your public messaging can't only be based on the data you do have, because there's not enough time there's not enough time for quantity of data and to see how things progress over time. So in February and March, when they were saying this mask, we don't think you need a mask. Nobody should be walking around with a mask, Fauci said. there wasn't enough data to support that. And scientists should have said, we don't have enough data to know this we're not, this is a novel virus that we haven't dealt with. Maybe you could have a rule of thumb based on previous viruses, but when they're saying, studies show that masks aren't effective or are effective, I mean, I could find a different study. You could find one topic and find 100 different studies that support different things. So they didn't have enough data or information to declaratively state that, it's not protective, this and that. They might have had data that stated the N95 was the most protective. But the bottom line is, as a journalist, if you don't know something, you should say, we just don't know. If you're a scientist who is the face of the public messaging for whether people should wear a mask, leave their homes, how do you protect your children? There wasn't enough data, bottom line. And at the end of the day, whatever you think of China, whatever you think of how this started, we see China locked down and wearing masks. So to me, this was much more about Trump and not wanting to ruin his reelection, not wanting to even acknowledge this. We heard it from the Woodward tapes where Trump acknowledged that this is worse than the flu. It's airborne. He basically said everything privately and then turned around publicly and said, it's no worse than the flu, totally under control. Well, if Fauci was working for Trump and, you can't just go out on your own. I mean, we know he was muzzled to a certain degree. He kept saying he wasn't, but it was clear he was. That he didn't want to. It wasn't just that, they wanted to hoard it for the doctors and the nurses. They didn't want to create a panic because Trump was trying to bottle this up the whole time. So to me, there's the point of Fauci clearly knew, and the CDC clearly knew masks are protective for everyone. We could argue about the degrees of protection, but the truth is they did not have enough information and data for Fauci to be telling people, which he did. Right now, people in America shouldn't be walking around with masks. They didn't know. And because of that, intentional or unintentional, a lot of people probably died in the beginning because, I was just talking, for example, Jen, and people probably didn't see it because YouTube's hiding our channel. I was just at the Amazon warehouse covering Amazon's insane union busting in Staten Island, New York. They're putting messages all over the warehouse right now that, these union organizers, they'll come to your house, they'll harass you, they'll stalk you, signing a union card is like giving, signing in blood, all this crazy shit. Watch the videos on YouTube, on this channel, if you haven't seen them yet. But one of them was telling me literally January, February, March, April of 2020. So before COVID was national, that warehouse in Staten Island, everybody was coughing. And this isn't the first person who told me that. Everybody was coughing. A lot of people were sick, but because they're indentured servants at Amazon, they worked because they don't get paid if they don't work. And they were, God knows how many people got COVID at Amazon in Staten Island and other places. Well, those people were told by Anthony Fauci, people in America right now shouldn't be walking around with a mask. Even though he just said, we said that because we didn't have enough. So not only did he lie, but they also didn't have enough information to declaratively state that. And people died as a result.
Yeah, I think we're exactly on the same page, actually, Jordan. I don't know if I just didn't state it, what I'm saying. My point is that exactly that. If they didn't have enough information, they should have said so, and that they were either following bad science, different science, science that wasn't as relevant, and then they eventually followed or studied more relevant science and were able to change their recommendations. That's the point I'm making. But then they denied that they ever said what they said in the first place, which created mask skeptics. So that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And so I want to address Daniel Pinquist says if this woman, by the way, this woman's name is Jen, is vaccinated and she still wears the mask, she doesn't believe in science. That is in fact not the case. I of course believe in science. The reason I wear the mask is not because I think I will get COVID. The reason I wear the mask is because there are vulnerable people out there, and not everybody is vaccinated. And I simply believe it is, for me, a kind of symbolic, nice thing to do. I'm not saying wearing a mask is symbolic. I'm saying for me, it is likely to make a vulnerable person feel better if I am wearing a mask. That is all.
And by the way, I mean, by no means am I saying this is a huge number, but there are cases popping up of fully vaccinated people contracting COVID. So it's not totally impossible for that to happen. Like, I was on my honeymoon, we were fully vaccinated. Outside, we didn't wear masks. Inside, we still had to, based on hotel policies and things like that. But if I was like at a concert or something, which they probably make you, but if I was at a concert packed with people indoors, I might wear it, because it's not completely out of the realm of possibility that you can get it. Now, if you're fully vaccinated, even if you do get it, it's very unlikely that you would become severely ill or anything like that. But it doesn't mean you can't get it. And if you get it, you could pass it off to somebody who hasn't been vaccinated yet. So I don't think Jen's saying she's going to be wearing a mask forever outside. I'm certainly not. But I don't, and also it's like, it's the same thing with like voter shaming. Like, I see these people, somebody commented on my Twitter, because we posted the video and it showed we had masks on outside as I was interviewing Amazon organizers. Well, first of all, they had masks on. I didn't tell them to put masks on. But secondly, like, what's it to you? Like, who gives a shit? Mm-hmm. Why are you like mask shaming people? If people want to wear a mask, that's their personal choice. I mean, Republicans, it's like the hypocrisy is crazy. But if people want to wear a mask, even if you don't think there's a reason to, like, so what? And, it's just kind of crazy. But to me, at the end of the day, everybody during COVID became a scientist. Everybody, thinks they know, what's really effective, what's not. I read a lot of research. Jen read a lot of research. I think the truth is some things we don't know. But to me, the two takeaways from Fauci's emails, and I want to go through more of them. Number one, people should be screaming about, we want that full email that's redacted on the Wuhan lab. We want to know what Fauci said about the Wuhan lab. Is Fauci the last stop on the train, whether this leaked out of the Wuhan lab? No, but I'd like to know what is described as the leading infectious disease expert in America, what he was saying in early 2020 about whether it came out of that lab. Secondly, I mean, at the end of the day, there could be other viruses, right? There could be other viruses. I don't want to scare people, but it's not out of the realm of possibility. So, by the way, they're now talking about a Mount Everest variant, because all these people were climbing Mount Everest or went to Mount Everest, not vaccinated, or early on, not vaccinated, weren't wearing masks, and they spread it, which is they're finding vaccines are not effective against this variant. So there could be another variant. It's not out of the realm of possibility that we have another, it might not be to the degree of COVID, but another spread of something. So it really comes down to, is this the person we trust with information? Because it sounds like Biden isn't firing him. So we need to know, can we trust this person? Because to me, I would trust somebody who says, we don't know yet. We don't know yet. So as a result of us not knowing yet, here's what we recommend.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I don't think that Fauci is going anywhere. He's been hailed as a hero. He's held up by a hero from the liberal wing. And, while he has many enemies in the Trump wing of the country, he's not going anywhere. I don't think it matters. There's certain people where it doesn't matter what they do wrong. And I think Cuomo is almost in that sort of on that pedestal as well. We'll see. But there are these COVID heroes where it doesn't matter, in the case of Cuomo, that he essentially murdered tons of elderly folks with COVID. it doesn't matter because they've been held up as these heroes. So I think Fauci's definitely, he has a book coming out, this and that. I don't think he's going anywhere. I think there's going to be a lot of, I don't know. There's a lot. There's some stuff that I won't necessarily say, but I do hope that we get that unredacted email. I do hope that we learn more, but I don't think he's going to be sort of punished in any way.
Well, also, I mean, listen, this man has been made into, like, I know it's creepy, but like almost like a sex symbol in some corners of America. I was just on my honeymoon. We went to Haight Street in San Francisco, and one of the stores there, they have prayer candles for Fauci, like they used to have for Ruth Bader Ginsburg. I mean, there's shirts with Fauci. It's kind of absurd. It's kind of absurd. So, yep, he lied. I don't think it's up really for debate. He admitted to Mehdi Hassan and others that the reason that they were telling people not to wear masks is because there was a shortage. We should also address, which corporate outlets did not cover, why we had a shortage and why we still have a shortage for life-saving equipment, because we have allowed banks and corporations who buy our government to literally write transnational trade deals that sell our American manufacturing jobs that make masks and ventilators and all sorts of things that could protect you, and send it to China and Mexico and other countries. I'm all for people having jobs in China and Mexico, but I'm kind of America first on this end, that not at the expense of American jobs. And that's why we did not have masks and protective equipment and, many other things that we didn't have. So we'll see what happens. We'll see if BuzzFeed and others keep digging, but we'll stay on this as news develops. Smash that like button, share this live stream. We got a couple other good topics. Also, Jen, we should tell people we now have a Substack if you don't know. So I've been banging out written pieces on Substack. Yesterday, we posted exclusive reporting showing literally it's like a union busting utopia inside Amazon's Staten Island warehouse.
Dystopia.
We posted all sorts of photos that Amazon is posting inside. They might as well be telling you these organizers trying to unionize in New York are going to come eat your children at your homes. It's that kind of messaging. So definitely check us out. statuscoup.substack.com. There's certain content that you could get for free. Some articles will be just for paid subscribers. You could become a paid subscriber, $5 a month. I want to move on, Jen, and everybody.
I also want to tell people
go ahead,
that you can never rely on YouTube for anything. We know that now. You guys all know that now. You're not getting notifications, nothing. So make a habit. I like you too, Sean Jenkins. Thank you. Make a habit of and bookmark statuscoup.live. Statuscoup.live. You can watch us live there. You can support us there. And you can see there's a leaderboard there. There's all kinds of stuff there. Statuscoup.live. You can always find us there no matter what shenanigans, YouTube pools. Find us there. Go for it.
Absolutely. So I want to get to, this is kind of like the same old manufacturing consent that the corporate media does. But boy, the economy is roaring back, I'm told, Jen. The economy is roaring back.
Is that the case?
The jobs report came out today. Colin, if you have, hold on, unemployment. I just lost the article. This is the CBS article. Biden says America is on the move again. America is on the move again. Let me give you the actual numbers here. If you don't have the article, I just sent it to you, Colin. President Biden said America is on the move again Friday after the latest jobs report showed employers added 559,000 jobs in May, closer to what economists anticipated after April's disappointing jobs report. While the president said he was extremely optimistic, he warned there will be bumps along the way and urged Americans to get vaccinated. The expected number was closer to let me get that expected number. Status quo. I think the expected number was closer to like 680,000 jobs. So they were about 100,000 jobs short. So this comes, the unemployment rate fell to 5.8% in May, down from 6.1% in April. 9.3 million people remain unemployed, potentially able to work. Quote, no other major economy in the world is growing as fast as ours. No other major economy is gaining jobs as quickly as ours. And none of this success is an accident. It isn't luck, Biden said. So you might say, devil's advocate, Jordan, why do you got to be a Debbie Downer about everything? Can't you just give the man credit? Well, like all jobs reports, just the amount of jobs added is not actually the measurement of whether the economy is strong. We don't get that kind of philosophy and insight from the corporate media because they have great pay. They have great healthcare. They don't have to drive Uber and Lyft on top of their journalism jobs, and they don't have to sell their blood plasma to supplement their already insufficient first job, right? So, in those numbers, 559,000 jobs added, 292,000. So the biggest job gains came in hospitality. What is hospitality? Restaurants, hotels, bars, those kind of industries. So you're talking waitresses, restaurant managers, barkeeps, bar owners, all that. Hotels, all that. I'm not, these are hard workers, but these are not living wage jobs. Let's repeat. These are not, a large majority of that are not living wage jobs. So 292,000, that's half. That's half of the job growth is in a sector that are not living wage jobs. And I want to just show you, this is from a 2018 report. You don't have to show this, Colin, but 2018 report from State of the Hourly Worker Report. 47% of restaurant workers, 41% of retail workers, and 38% of hospitality workers need more hours than their main job provides to pay all their bills. Quote, as a result, most 80% of these individuals work several jobs to get enough hours or pay to cover expenses, though nearly 75% of those workers would far prefer to work one full-time job. So you're having close to 50% of hospitality workers have to work more than one job. And that was, by the way, before the pandemic. Coming back to their jobs, they might be making less than they were before the pandemic. They might have less hours as businesses are coming back. So if you think they had to work more jobs before the pandemic, what about post-pandemic? But we're getting from Biden, and of course, Republicans do this too. They try to dress up jobs reports as, roaring. We're getting that the country's on the move again and blah, blah, blah. No, the neoliberal economic order is on the move again. The neoliberal economic order is on the move again because half of the jobs that were added are not living wage jobs. And if that's the measurement that we're excited about, because you're not going to get it from CNBC or CNN, they're not going to tell you that. But if that's the measurement, and that's building back better, the bullshit Biden fed, not a lot's going to change, Jen.
Biden's a consistent disappointment. I don't know what AOC is talking about when she says that he exceeds her expectations. Biden had a good run with signing a few good executive orders. And then it's been kind of, downhill from there, including kind of, trying to make a few good headlines, exactly like this. And it's obviously not the case that with these hospitality jobs, most people can make a solid income. These are the kinds of jobs that are of course respectable, and of course people work very hard at them. And it's not shaming people who have these jobs in any way to say that they're most likely probably not making a full-time income. Many people working them are maybe working 2 jobs or sometimes even 3 jobs. And so to tout these numbers as being just, yay, go Joe Biden, go, we're doing it. No, that's not the case. What's happening is the rich continue to get richer. Billionaires continue to make money off the pandemic, and people continue to struggle. And we'll talk a lot more about this, but unemployment is ending early for a lot of states, including my state of Maryland. And so the fact is that some folks are going to be taking on even more hospitality jobs because a lot of restaurant owners are complaining that they can't fill their positions. And so maybe Biden will be able to say, oh, look, we're doing even better. Look at us now. We filled even more hospitality jobs. Great. When the reality is, no, we're not going to be doing better. No, we're not. So it's a true shame that Biden doesn't seem to care about making real change. Our hopes of him maybe caring a little bit, great old Amtrak Joe, are it's not going to happen.
Wait,
we didn't think it would happen, and it's not happening.
Mean because he takes the Amtrak, he's not middle class Joe?
No, sad to say.
Oh, by the way, not included in the jobs report and this manufacturing consent coverage, we're now less than 4 weeks away, so less than a month away from an eviction time bomb when 11 million, I think that number is underreported, 11 million people are facing eviction. Just in the Bronx in New York, you have 50,000 eviction notices out that they're just waiting for the go-ahead to toss people in the streets. How's that going to work for the country moving, as Biden says? So, of course, they're barely talking about this eviction moratorium ending. Nobody's pressuring Biden on it. AOC, Rashida Tlaib, Ro Khanna, Pramila Jayapal, Jamal Bowman, Cori Bush, Bernie, silence of the progressives, silence of the progressive lambs, we'll call it. So you have a homelessness crisis already, got about 553,000 people that are homeless. That, by the way, our homeless number does not count people that are couch surfing, which are not included in the official homelessness count, but technically they don't have a home. They are home insecure and they sleep on couches. Then you're going to add over 10 million people that are going to be evicted through no fault of their own. Then we have, Colin, if we could show this, Biden says today, yeah, it makes sense. That $300 unemployment will end in September. He said that today. I mean, listen, I don't think unemployment is the best system. I think I'm for a jobs guarantee or some form of UBI. But when the majority of the jobs that are coming back, I mean, we've already seen through the short-term higher wages. Those higher wages are because workers have a little more choice because they have unemployment. So they're not running back to take shitty jobs at low pay and crappy benefits. So once that $300 unemployment's taken away, you watch the wages fall back because people aren't going to have a choice but to go back to those non-living wage jobs. Okay. Biden is going to end it in September, while his press secretary, Jen Psaki, said today that, there's nothing wrong with these Republican, they have every right to do this, cut unemployment early. That's what the press secretary, the Democratic press secretary said. Yeah, the Republicans, like in Jen's state, cutting unemployment early, they have every right to do it. Are you kidding me? First of all, there's still COVID. It's significantly reduced, thankfully. Still COVID going around. A lot of businesses have gone out. The PPP program was a mess. And you're going to cut unemployment in at least 20 states soon, with evictions happening soon. And the Democratic president is saying, yeah, September we'll cut unemployment. And the press secretary, yeah, if Republicans want to do it now, no problem. I mean, we knew who Biden was, but this is disconnected, to say the least, Jen.
It absolutely is. It's despicable. this is not caring about the American people in any way, shape, or form. The fact that, I'll say it again, I just said it the last time I spoke, the fact that billionaires got so much wealthier, the fact that corporations got so much more money during a pandemic, that totally explains what our country is. It's not for the people. It's not for the people at all. The eviction moratorium is ending. Unemployment assistance is ending. And what are people to do? People were already struggling. It wasn't just the pandemic. Our country was already a mess for working class people. And now what? Now what? And we've said this already, and I hope you guys mark this on your calendar. But in a couple of weeks, we're going to take an evictions reporting tour to show what's happening. And that is so, so important to us to shine a light on this, because nobody else is. So, yeah, it's just horrible.
Speaking of, we're 3 members away from 1,900. 1,897 members. Do we have 3 of you to sign up today to get back to 1,900? Because that's how we fund these reporting trips. Statuscoup.com/join. We're having our members only call Tuesday, so I'm looking forward to that. That's through Zoom. It's been long overdue, so we definitely have a lot to discuss. So we're going to do that.
Yeah, we do. Ask me anything kind of style. It's so fun. You can ask us your burning questions. We'll share the dirt about trying to get our latest Flint story out. We'll do all kinds of stuff. Yeah, la 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 cha-cha says road trip. That's why I support Status Coup. Our road trips are great. Not only do we cover stories that other people do not, but we do things like live streams from the car. You get to listen to Jordan sing 90s songs. But we do so much. If you have a chance, go back and look at some of our road trips. And we truly, we plan ahead of time, but we often just find leads on the road and find stories on the road. And we go to different states and we cover stories and people that you will never see covered anywhere else, and it's truly incredibly valuable. So we really hope that you will you'll support us. Jason C, I mean, I think potentially the dominatrixes are doing okay, but if you maybe drop a couple thousand, we'll interview a dominatrix. You know. Just kidding. But you can also support us at higher amounts in addition to joining our membership at statuscoup.com/join. You can also support us at statuscoup.live or gofundme.com/statuscoup. And any amount helps us a ton, and it costs to go on these reporting trips.
By the way, I lied. We are at 1,899. So we got 2 members during this live stream. Welcome to the party, Ralph. Welcome, Jeremy. So we're at 1,899. I know there's one person out there that wants to be lucky 1,900. Sign up, statuscoup.com, statuscoup.com/join. I posted a members video last night, by the way. So definitely go to statuscoup.com, click on member content. And you could watch the video yesterday. I think it was very lovely, my video yesterday for members. And yeah, the members call this Tuesday is going to be lit. Tuesday night, 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. Jen, I wanted to get into one more story if you're ready.
Well, don't forget Grimes. I'm determined.
Forgot about that.
I'm covering Grimes. Cover Grimes now, and then you can get to important
all right,
stuff.
I don't know anything about the story, so if you want to tee it up.
Get ready, folks.
Go for it.
This is important news. Is it queued up, Colin? The article?
Yep.
Okay. Hold on one second, folks. So this is actually a complete nonsense story, but I wanted to read it to you. One second. We're using a different system today, so I can't actually see what's on your screen. So here's the Rolling Stone article. I get ready. So you guys all know Grimes. Grimes is Elon Musk's baby mama, pop star. It's so ridiculous. I had to share it with you. She decided to post this absurd video on social media the other day, and the entire internet lost its mind. So she was explaining how AI could help communism. And in my opinion, Elon Musk is potentially going to destroy the world eventually. I don't know if we have any Elon Musk super fans in the chat, but I am personally not an Elon Musk super fan. I think he is what they make movies about how like these super villains destroy the world. So she I don't even know how to explain this video, but she starts.
What's that?
Is there something? Sorry, folks. Is there something I do about that, or about an echo? 1 second, folks. There's apparently an echo from me. 1 little second. While you're waiting, you could sign up for the email list at statuscoup.pub/email. I think that's a great idea. And seriously, though, when you sign up for the email list, it allows us to contact you no matter what shenanigans YouTube pulls.
Absolutely.
We definitely don't spam you.
Still an echo? Okay. Go on.
Okay, so Grimes and Elon named their baby something crazy. I don't even know how to pronounce it. We'll call it Baby X. But she kind of came out as kind of like a, not necessarily a socialist, but she was known as being pretty progressive in certain spaces. And then she got together with Elon, and she's been kind of sliding towards his camp. And then all of a sudden she posted this TikTok video the other day. So Colin, go ahead and play the insane Grimes video that nobody knows what she's talking about.
I have a proposition for the communists. So typically, most of the communists I know are not big fans of AI. But if you think about it, AI is actually the fastest path to communism. So if implemented correctly, AI could actually theoretically solve for abundance. Like, we could totally get to a situation where nobody has to work, everybody is provided for with a comfortable state of being, comfortable living. AI could automate all the farming, weed out systematic corruption, thereby bringing us to as close as possible to genuine equality. So basically, everything that everybody loves about communism, but without the collective farm. Because let's be real, enforced farming is really not a vibe.
We're back.
Okay, so what is Grimes talking about? Nobody knows. It's kind of funny because I apologize if there's still an echo. I don't know what's going on. But I showed this to Jordan before, and he's like, I don't know who Grimes is. I don't know what she's talking about. And he said, that's okay, because nobody knows what Grimes is talking about ever. She's definitely a special soul. But I think this can be summed up by saying that Elon is making her wackier than ever. And I hope that her message does not spread. But on a more serious note, I think it worries me in a way that this like tech bro message will become more and more, I don't know, prevalent, because I do see progressives getting into the tech bro vibe, like these technocrats thinking like Tesla is cool. And I get it, like it does help the environment to have an electric car, an electric vehicle, and Elon's doing things with that, his SpaceX thing. And while this video is certainly not a serious video. It's clearly a wacky video, and I don't know. I suspect I have no evidence that she was potentially on something, but I'm concerned about Elon Musk's sort of infiltration of progressive spaces. I don't know your thoughts on Elon, Jordan.
I think Elon Musk is dangerous. I don't like Elon Musk. I think he's possibly has delusions of grandeur from some of his comments. But to me, I don't know who Grimes is. I don't know what the hell she was talking about. But I do think AI could be used for good and can be used for bad, is my opinion on the matter. And I'm pretty sure that once Amazon can figure out how to do everything with robots and artificial intelligence, they'll be doing that for sure. So, but yeah,
That's true.
I'd like some of what Grimes is on. I don't know what the hell she was talking about.
Yeah, she seems to be having a great time.
Absolutely. Let us know, folks, if you're still hearing an echo. I'm not hearing anything on my end on the matter. Let me know if you're hearing it on Jen's mic or my mic, because I'm not hearing it, but I don't want to diminish your experience. Okay, I want to do one more story, which to me is absolutely... I mean, of all the attacks on journalism, you have Julian Assange, you have, beating up journalists at these Black Lives Matter protesters. John showed, our cameraman showed that they were literally stopping journalists and putting their information in an app. Now, California is literally pushing a bill that would make it so you have to, it's called SB 98. Let me get it here. Would require journalists to seek permission of a police commander to enter closed areas around protests, a hurdle that doesn't currently exist under state law. This is a clear attempt to hobble the bill. Journalists should not need permission from a police commander to cover protests, just as law enforcement issued press credentials should not be required in order for journalists to exercise their First Amendment rights in a public forum. So there's multiple absurdities with this. First of all, we were talking about this during the Dante Wright protests. We were talking about this during Andrew Brown protests and a lot of protests. What determines whether there should be a curfew or not? How do police determine whether there should be a curfew? How do police determine certain areas should be closed off? I mean, none of that. It's all subjective, and it's essentially the police that are attacking protesters and tear gassing them and rubber bullets and all that stuff that are dictating this area should be closed off, or we should have a curfew. I mean, in North Carolina, there was no reason to have a curfew. There was 20 to 30 protesters out for Andrew Brown every night. I don't want to diminish the protesters, but it wasn't like hundreds of people out. But first of all, journalists should not need permission from a police officer for anything. Obviously, if you're doing, a drug bust or something like that, maybe that's different. But you don't need permission to dictate what area you could go to. And don't you think whenever the cops get annoyed at the protesters or pissed off at the protesters, they'll just close off the area near the most protesters and say, oh, this is a safety. It's for your own safety. And block the journalists from covering whatever, God knows what they're doing to the protesters. So this is insane. It's insane that it's happening in California, which Democrats have complete control. So vote blue no matter who, we're told. Well, these Democrats in California are trying to make an amendment to a bill to make it it's basically like, I don't know the analogy, but having to ask a police officer for permission for where you could step and where is one way to make the already epidemic of police terrorism significantly worse. And it would definitely, if they could do it in California, this will spread like wildfire all over the place. And it will definitely affect our reporting in the field. It will definitely affect other actual journalists on the ground at these types of things. I can't even imagine if they had this ability to do it at Standing Rock or in Ferguson. And, you know, corporate journalists will be obedient and follow. And even independent journalists might have to, for fear of, you know, unless you want to get your head bashed in or get arrested. So I think this is extremely dangerous. And just like police shouldn't be investigating themselves, police do not get to determine where journalists go. Jen.
It's been really frustrating, and I think I'm echoing. Let me know, guys, if I'm echoing. It's been really frustrating.
Be obedient and follow. Go ahead.
Hold on, guys. It's been really frustrating and horrible to be reporting in the field and have police officers messing with journalists, for lack of a better word. Tina Desiree Berg, who you guys all know and love, who shows up on the channel here and there, she was reporting in LA on the, Black Lives Matter, George Floyd protests, and cops said there's no press here now, or there's no press corps here now. And then she said, there's always, what are you talking about? There's always a press. And that is what the cops' mindset is. That is simply what it is. They don't care about that at all. Not at all. Not in any sense of the word. They don't care about the press. In the past year, 365 days, I have been assaulted by police. I was clearly marked as press. I had my press badge on. Cops attacked me at another George Floyd Black Lives Matter protest, and had all my equipment, all that. And this was in DC, and a police officer attacked me. I stood up. I simply pointed to my equipment, knocked me down again. I was pulled to safety by protesters. Cops did not care that I was press. John Farina, who sometimes does freelance camera work for us, has been assaulted by police. Jordan's been arrested in St. Louis for reporting on a Black Lives Matter protest. Tina has been assaulted. In fact, the U.S. Press Freedom Organization said Tina is one of the top 25 journalists in the country that has been assaulted by police. And that is just here at status quo. So, yeah, not a surprise at all.
Apparently the echo got better. That's good. So, yeah, to me, why isn't, I don't expect much from Brian Stelter or the corporate media, but why the fuck is this not everywhere? Like, literally, you have black men being murdered by police now on a weekly basis. We don't even know half of them that happen. You have cover-ups happening in Louisiana, Ronald Green, where no cop has been arrested for doing a similar thing to Ronald Green that was done to George Floyd. Andrew Brown, to me, is another cover-up. And you have now bills to give police more power. I mean, it's just beyond the realm of, it's just beyond the pale. I mean, it's beyond the pale. And I could tell you, in my experience, most police hate journalists. Most police hate journalists. And we've already seen before this attempted bill that they will try, and for independent journalists like myself, they'll try to say, no, you're a protester. You're a protester. You're with the protesters. I was basically treated that way when I was arrested in St. Louis in 2017. So they're already getting away with that. And now you're going to allow them to cordon off to block off certain areas from journalists. And I mean, you think CNN's going to put up a fuss, a real fuss? You think larger outlets are? And I mean, we know what's going to happen. They will, wherever the core of the core of the protest is, they'll say, "Oh, this is a safety issue. Too many people. We can't have you here." To the journalists, it's exactly what's going to happen. And there needs to be severe pressure on these California Democrats to stop this, because it's insane and completely absurd that they're even considering it.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And I believe we're going to get more, reporting on this specifically from Tina. So that'll be great. Some interviews about this, organizing against it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, I mean, that's all I got. Any PSAs for the audience, Jen?
I do have some PSAs. As I said, we're going to be soon going on a reporting road trip, which it's been quite some time since we've been on one. I've been down. It seems crazy, but I've been down basically since November. November 19th was the day of the Rudy Giuliani face melting tour press conference. And so it was the summer before that we went on our last reporting road trip. So this is an event, and it's important. So I don't remember what we called that last one, Jordan, but it was like the disappearing middle class was one you did previously, but this was in similar vein, working class.
COVID depression. Yeah. So similar thing. And it was incredible and sad and important. And this is going to be that as well. Such an important upcoming road trip. And I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be so important because of this, the eviction moratorium ending, and because these GOP asshole governors like my own, Larry Hogan, ending unemployment early. So you have this double whammy. And then all of it ending in September. So you have people who are going to be kicked out of their home, who don't have money. And then you have good old Amtrak Joe, who is celebrating the fact that people have hospitality jobs that don't pay the bills. And here we are in America, good old America, the good old American dream that nobody gets to live except for the Richie Riches. So that's what this trip is going to be. And I hope that you can help us if it is in your budget. We're definitely not asking for support for ourselves in any way, shape, or form. The fact is, we're traveling reporters. We don't just sit and pontificate in the studio. That's what we're doing right now. By studio, I mean my bedroom and Jordan's basement. But we travel. I'm starting to look into locations we might go. If you have an eviction story, an unemployment story, contact us. info@statuscoup.com or statuscoup.com/contact. And let us know if you know of someone, or if you yourself, let us know. But I'm looking into spots now, and it costs a lot to travel. Gas costs, food costs, hotel costs, equipment costs. Live view cost. Live view was the device we used to go live in the field, and it grabs cell tower signals from different AT&T and Verizon and all this. It's very technical, whatever, but it's extremely expensive. So we have costs that others do not have, and we are completely independent. We are answerable only to you. We're also very small. It's us and Colin, and then we have freelancers, John, who does great camera work, and we bring on folks like Tina sometimes, who does great work out in LA. So that's us, and it matters to us to do these stories. Is it going to make us money to do this eviction tour? No, it doesn't. It's not in the news. Nobody's talking about it. It's not a sexy story that is out there. No,
but we do it because it's important. So if you can help us out, if it's in your budget, as I said, statuscoup.live, there's a donation box. GoFundMe.com/statuscoup. You can support us there. And it helps, and it goes to a great cause. It goes to actual journalism, the kind of journalism that you're here watching us for. So we really appreciate you. Please do join our email list. I can't tell you to join our text list because we no longer have access to our short code. Thank you, telecommunications companies. But go to statuscoup.pub/email, statuscoup.pub/email. Pop your email in there. And that way we can contact you no matter what YouTube does to us. And we have a hell of a lot of stories about what YouTube does to us that we will share with you on our Ask Me Anything call for our members. Statuscoup.com/join. Just $5 a month. And you get access to our members only Discord chat, video diaries. Jordan's posted one or is about to post one. I hear it's super good. I posted one that was very meaningful to me last week about a houseless trans Black woman who has been sex trafficked for 5 years. And I feel like my life is forever changed by meeting her. And I really hope you watch that video diary. It's about 10 minutes long. Very impactful for me, and I hope for you. So if you're a member, go watch that. And Jordan's, if you're not a member, is well worth the $5. Statuscoup.com/join. Yeah, we love you all, and we're so happy that you are a viewer. You guys are the coolest of the cool, the truest of the true. You're here watching us instead of some BS on MSNBC.
And we're one member away from 1900. So I hope one of you makes my night. I hope one of you makes my night and signs up. Well, more than one of you, but I hope one makes my night so we get to 1900. We've been close to 2,000 and then we lose and then we gain. We want to get to 2,000 members as soon as possible. It would make a big difference. So definitely sign up, statuscoup.com/join. Thank you guys for watching. Back at it next week and have a nice weekend. Bye-bye.
Bye, all.